Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that along with education as a right that should be available to all, it also explains that education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. The purpose of this motion is to remind us of the importance of education and how it should be treated as a human right and not as a commodity or privilege. It should be a way to learn the rights and wrongs of the past, but also to empower students and solve the problems in the present and in the future. Paulo Freire, Brazilian author of Pedagogy of the Oppressed, put it that looking at the past must only be a means of understanding more clearly what and who they are, so that they can more wisely build the future. It was with great enthusiasm that, as someone who has worked in the education sector for over 10 years, to find that the previous two manifestos promised the introduction of the National Education Service. This was a great step forward in politics in this country. This included bringing the concept of local accountability and control of schools. Academization, from my perspective, has not made a substantial amount of difference to improving education in this country. The young people I have worked with have experienced off-rolling, a narrowing of the curriculum, and no opportunities to acquire an education that gives them the confidence and certainty to face this world and any ongoing issues that they will have to face. I find it wrong that academies and free schools have brought this free market concept of education, which is not compatible with viewing education as a human right, as it hardens the divides between the winners and losers in education and in society. Paulo Freire also once mentioned that there's no such thing as neutral education. Education either functions as an instrument to bring about conformity or freedom. Our working class communities need education to give them their freedom, and the narrowing of the curriculum and relying more on high stakes exams, as well as having league tables and pressurised inspections from Ofsted, does nothing to free those who most need a well funded and properly researched education system. I will also add that we need to properly fund and make free and available further and higher education, as well as adult education. As Tony Benn once put it, the other thing about education is the absurdity of supposing that it's something that happens at the beginning of life. Because education has got to be an escalator going alongside you throughout life, and you get on the escalator and off the escalator whenever you feel like. So, as the Labour Party, we must stop this commodification and narrowing of education. As we have seen from the previous year, we need to educate and solve a lot of fundamental problems in our world, and I would include climate change in that. If we intend on triangulating our policies and being moderate in what we can do, then I fear that it will be too late and our society, our country, and our world will be slipping into darkness. And for me, education is one of those fundamental areas where we can bring real change, real progress, and real justice for all, which could help us heal and bring into the light a better and more prosperous era. I urge you to vote in favour of this motion.